Day 30. I'm not going to congratulate you. I want to say that at the top, and I want to explain it because it is the last thing I will teach you, and it is the same thing I've been teaching you for a month. If I told you now that you had done something remarkable, you would have no way to check it. You would simply have to take my word. And taking someone's word is the exact opposite of what these 30 days were for. So instead, we are going to do what we did on day 10 and again on day 20. We're going to open the record and look at what it actually shows. Today is not a valediction, it is a measurement, and you may fail it. The book's instruction for today is one sentence. Bring all 30 constellation maps to the table. Do that now, physically. Spread them out the whole month in your own handwriting, including the nights you did not want to be there. And then look at the page in front of you, because day 30 is not a special record. It is the identical daily record you have filled in 29 times. Step 0, somatic log, touch pass, the map, the synthesis, integration notes, the same page on the last day. The page never changed. You did. And underneath it, one section that has never appeared before, the 30-day review. 3 questions. We will get to them, but first, run your session. First, run the session before you look at anything. The rule has not changed, and it does not change today. Log first, review second. You have obeyed this since day 10, when the seal came off your first block, and the reason is the same now as it was then, only sharper, because today the stakes are the whole corpus. Today's session is the 30th data point. It goes on the tally. It goes in the void overlay. It is counted alongside the other 29. If you spread out 30 maps first, if you sit down having just seen that your voids clustered in the lower right 22 times, then you will place cards tonight. You will place cards tonight knowing the verdict. And the final entry in your log will be the one entry that was made by a person who already knew what he was supposed to find. That would be a small, quiet, entirely avoidable act of vandalism against a month of honest work. So, question in step 0, written before the shuffle. Somatic baseline, touch pass, place, draw the map, freeze it, run the sweep, every region, fixed order, and mark the one you almost skipped, because that is your 4th mark and you need it. Full trunk, cluster, isolate 4th, void last. This confirmation line written before you know. Exactly as ordinary as day 14. And then close the daily record, and only then turn to the review. Now the review. 3 questions from the book, and they've been waiting at the back of your workbook since the day you bought it. Bring all 30 constellation maps to the table. What has the void consistently refused to show? What geometry recurred? What changed between day 1 and today? You built 3 sheets for this day on day 28. Use them. And I want you to notice one last time what those questions are not asking. They do not ask how you feel. They do not ask what it meant to you. They do not ask whether you believe. They ask what recurred, what stayed absent, and what changed. And every one of those is arithmetic. That is a gift, and it is the last protection the method gives you, because arithmetic cannot be moved by how much you wanted to say something. A tally of 11 satellites is 11 satellites, whether or not you were hoping for a solar system. A void that appeared in the lower right on 22 of 30 maps appeared there 22 times, and no amount of significance hunting will make it 26. You are about to read your own month, and the only defense you have against reading it warmly, against finding the beautiful arc that 30 pages will always yield to someone who wants one, is that you did the counting first on Wednesday as a clerk before you knew what the numbers would say. Take the sheets, answer the 3 questions, write the numbers down before you write a single sentence of interpretation. Count first, then read. Question 1. What has the void consistently refused to show? Take out the void overlay. 30 voids on one sheet in 2 colors, neutral in one, questioned in the other. Look at it and sort what you see into the cells from day 24. Absent in both registers. It never appeared. Not what you wanted, not when you wanted nothing, not when you asked directly and wanted it badly. That is an absence that survived an adversarial test, and it is the strongest thing in your notebook. Write it down plainly, and notice how strange it is to write a finding made of nothing. I asked about this 3 times directly, and nothing ever came. That is a real entry. It may be the most important one in the book. Present, then gone. It came freely when you wanted nothing and vanished once your questions began. The question itself may be steering the field away from it, and you could only ever have seen that because you had 20 days of not asking to compare against. And the 3rd cell, it never came unbidden and appeared only once you called for it. Maximum suspicion. That is what wanting looks like from the inside, and it is the cell where the wallpaper face has been living. If you have something here, and it will be the thing that felt most alive, most personal, most like contact, then you know what it needs. Not celebration, a test. Stop asking and see whether it stays. And remember the definition, which is the most rigorous sentence in your book. Consistency in the void is not absent every day. It is absent under the conditions where it had every reason to appear. Score your words against that standard, not the easy ones. Question 2. What geometry recurred? Take out the tally. 30 rows. Pattern type, dominant zone, isolate, void location, count the columns. If a shape dominates 11 satellites in 30 sessions, say, that is a fact about your hands. It is countable, it is defensible, and it is yours. You did not know it a month ago, and now you do. And you know it on evidence rather than on impression. And if nothing dominates, if the tally comes out 5, 6, 4, 7, 8 with no clear winner, that is also a finding. It says your layouts have no characteristic geometry, which is a real result, honestly obtained, and it is more than most people in this field will ever produce because most people in this field never count anything. Now the discipline, and it's the one I gave you on day 20, and it applies with more force today. Do not squint. Do not decide that a loose scatter was sort of a solar system, because it would make the tally more interesting. Do not upgrade a borderline case because the pattern is nearly there. You are one generous reading away from a result you will believe for years. Score the shape on the page, not the story it grew into. And then check your tests, the ones you declared on day 25, with a number and a date. My void falls in the lower right. Fewer than 3 in 5 sessions, and it is dead. Score them against the threshold you set before you knew. Do not move the threshold. It is the last thing standing between you and a month of self-congratulation, and you put it there yourself on purpose precisely for this moment. Question 3. What changed between day 1 and today? You know how to answer this because you did it on day 10 and again on day 20. It is the count test, and it is the only proof of progress this method has ever accepted. Read your day 1 geometry sentence out loud if you can bear it. Then read today's. And count the units of information in each. Not the quality, not the insight, the units. Distance measured, clusters named with a tightness, voids located and proportioned, isolates identified and qualified. On day 1, you probably wrote something like, the cards are spread out and there is a group on the left. Today, you will have written something with distances in it and a named pattern and a void with a measured proportion and an isolate whose quality you assessed by geometry. The difference is your answer. It is countable. It is on the page and no one can argue you out of it. And be precise about what it means, because this is the last time I'll be able to say it to you. The field did not become more informative. The cards did not change. Nothing arrived to help you. You became able to see what was always there. That is what 30 days of a fixed sequence does to a perceptual system, and it is the least mysterious and most durable thing you have gained. It is also the only thing here that no one can take from you, not by disproving the method, not by losing your notebook, not by anything. You will walk into rooms for the rest of your life and see the distances in them. 3 more things to settle tonight. You set all of them up yourself in advance, and tonight they close. The 4 sweep marks. Since day 26, you have marked each session. The region you almost skipped. 4 marks now. Look at them. Are they the same region? If they are, if it is the upper left, 4 times out of 4, then you have located your blind spot. Not as a theory about your weakness, as a place found by measurement, by watching yourself fail to look at it under a procedure designed to catch exactly that. Almost nobody in this field has ever done that. Write it down and go there mechanically for the rest of your life, because you now have proof that you will not go there naturally. The declared tests, number and date, set on day 25. Score them against the threshold you wrote before you knew. And I will say it one final time, because tonight is when it costs. Do not move the threshold. The lexicon, your past 2 score. Stable, partial, new. Read it again. Cold. 3 weeks after you scored it and with nothing left at stake. Apply the stranger test. Would someone with no knowledge of you and no interest in the outcome call those 2 entries the same impression? If you were generous in the moment, and you may have been, at 11 o'clock at night with both passes in front of you and nobody watching, then correct it now. Not by rewriting the entry, by adding a line, dated today, reconsidered day 30, downgraded to partial. That correction is not a defeat. It is the instrument catching its own drift on the last day, and it is one of the most valuable entries in the notebook.